Testing, test. Yeah, all right, I'm here. All right, what's up, everybody? This is Edward back with another video, another episode of Everybody Hates Black Men. I'm your host, Edward Anderson. I'm actually in front of my computer. I don't know if I'm gonna bring some people up, but it's actually two things I'm gonna do. We're gonna have a conversation about some comments I've been getting. I want to do some responses to some of you all's comments, which is not a bad thing. I just wanted to do a response to it. I want to test some stuff out with, obviously with um StreamYard, because it's been a minute. As you can see the chat, which is cool. So I ain't gotta constantly respond to you all's chats and stuff. Yeah, what's up, everybody? Some of y'all be giving some insightful comments. Some of y'all, I don't really. I like Corey. I'm more neutral on Anton. I do think Anton be cooning, and I mean that's and I don't play the game thing. But honestly, I'm just an observer. This is not like uh O'Shea and Angry Man, I was too close to it because in this space, so I didn't want to really take sides regardless. Um, Tariq, Tommy, I'm more on Tariq's side, but I'm a fair and balanced person. But anyway, what we're going to talk about is actually two things. I actually have a reaction video I want to go over with you all, as well as we're going to have a conversation for a little bit about the Anton and Corey situation. Some of the comments you all have given. Yes, 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 yes. And we're gonna have some fun. Like I said, I do need to start trying to fire off more comments. Also, this is me. This video was done in combination with AI. Shout out to Cedring. So you have no idea how much money and stuff I put in the AI. As far as time and stuff. But yeah. So anyway, yeah, what's up? Happy New Year's, happy MLK Day. We really need to start telling the whole and proper history on Martin Luther King Day and all that. I'm gonna take the time to share this a little bit, the video, and get that going. And while we get this started, let me see. Also, I'm about to pin the link to the Discord in the comment section. So, like not in the comment, but like in the chat, because I'm still in the mode where I want to let people in, but I want to let people in under controlled conditions. Luckily, Discord has things where, I can limit the amount of people to get in and stuff like that over a link. So that's cool. Also, I got some clips from an interview I did yesterday in case y'all haven't seen that. Um, that I'll do. And so that's gonna be fun. And yeah, so we're gonna have fun with it. Let's see. Uh Invite to server, edit the link. We're gonna limit 50 people. We're gonna do I don't see any reason why to do this longer than an hour. All right. All right. All right. So that is pinned. All right. So let's talk about it. So anyway. We are in 2026, lots of going on. Shout out to BGS. BGS has this daily videos. Y'all really definitely need to support that. That needs to start averaging like 600 views. We really want to get that to 1,000 views. Shout out to Roger Report stuff too. But BGS, like honestly, to be honest with you, BGS is our like daily videos. I think are really good. I actually think they're the type of thing you can actually share to share on your social media, share your Facebook, because it's something that women can engage with even if they don't like. Obviously, BGS will talk to women. BGS has daughters, he has grandkids, see a son that's married, daughter. It's he has a situation. Daughter has a kid. I mean, so he's not somebody that's like anti-woman to the point where he'll talk. So I mean, to me, BGS does it. A lot of women are intrigued by the stuff he says because the way he presents it and the information behind it. So you all should be sharing BGS's stuff more on the social media. I will also say I'm probably going to tell you right now, don't share my stuff because I'm not about to moderate myself, especially on my lives, so people aren't in their feelings. But, with the Anton situation, I got a lot of comments from you all. I got different type of comments, so it's cool. But, I got comments talking about everybody consistently saying it was foul, which I'm not here to defend that. I wouldn't have did that. But at the same time, you know, the virtue signaling or the fake outrage, the Professor Black Truth has a term that I like, a phrase that I like. It's called situational ethics. I could say situational values, but that came from Professor Black Truth, and he talks about this as far white supremacy can be on both sides of the argument in order, but the common denominator is their power, and then they may argue within that. But um, but the reality is, I've said this before, and I'm gonna say this now. A lot of y'all look at who y'all like, and then it takes a lot for somebody to disagree with somebody they like or a stance they took. And this is one of the times where Corey breached that. But I can tell you right now, Corey did that on purpose. Corey didn't do that from an emotional place. Nobody really accused him of doing that from an emotional place. But Corey needed to do something new. I said this in the last stream. It was equivalent of him trying of what Anton did. We can speculate on what Anton's motivations were, but I do believe if Anton would have been hit by Corey, Anton would have sued, and Anton would have ran to white people, going on the white people tour, just like how you went on the Chitlin. So I mean, we see what he did. I'm not saying it's right or wrong, but this dude basically act like he won a fight for the first time in his life, and basically he ran on every podcast he could go to from Fugazi. It was a whole bunch of stuff. Any podcast, any kind of motion. And he basically, oh man, I would have did this, did that, which most people, the consensus, if you had to put money on it, most people would say a 57-year-old Corey would have beat the shit out of like a 42, 43-year-old Anton. And so it's not even about that. I promise you, like, and so people have been hit on that show, and that cost Corey money. So again, when Anton said he studied Corey, that really stuck out to me. I'm really thinking about doing like really, I don't know if I'm gonna do it live or not, but really going through the video that led up to that because people want to kind of talk about saying like Corey was antagonizing Anton. If that's true, then if that's true, then yeah, people are going to respond because people play games with me like that. But I don't think that's what was going on, but I need to basically go through it and really see that led up to that point. Because most people are not going to take the time to watch a long video. They never do, whether it's here, um I'm thinking of Shannon Sharp. By the way, shout out to I Show Speed. I Show Speed is now the most followed, I believe, black YouTuber. I Show Speed has 50 million subscribers. That's crazy. That's insane. 50 million subscribers. That is crazy to me. 50 million subscribers. And that is crazy. I didn't even realize he was on YouTube like that. I mean, obviously he's not in my demographic, but yeah, man. And yeah, I haven't. I just shared it on the live post. So if y'all want to share it in the Discord, like the video, and like I said, click on if y'all aren't in the Discord, click in the Discord for the initiated. We're gonna have some fun in there. We're about to start a real movement with that. Absolutely. Let me see. 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 Boom. And then so y'all can see that. Let's see here. It's crazy. I still got to get used to that. Yeah, 50 million people. So y'all know I'm not capping with that. 50 million subscribers. That is amazing. It really is. Shout out to that brother. Shout out to that brother. I Show Speed has 50 million subscribers on YouTube. If you go in his videos be doing 8 million, 6 million, 5 million. I mean, I wouldn't use the term stalking Corey. I wouldn't use, and it's so good because I don't have to like show this. I wouldn't use the term I wouldn't use the term stalking Corey, but like when you got to study somebody, that tells us you didn't go in there with. Because first of all, if you study Corey, you would know Corey is a straight shooter, and that's his stick. But I'm not gonna relitigate that. Y'all know who Corey is. Y'all, at the most part, know who Anton is. But if you're studying somebody, that means you're going in there. You're not going in there with correct intentions. You're not going in there to have a conversation. You're going in there to basically like, and even Corey said it that he really wanted to do a Zoom with Anton, but Anton wanted to see face up. So he's trying to use Corey for a lick. And when you understand like a lot of stuff that's going on with that, now people have different narratives. People have narratives about, a lot of stuff that happened in Detroit back in the day, like people that are from Detroit and how the street dudes basically exported a lot of Detroit culture, the Black Mafia family. And a lot of this stuff is where a lot of the LA stuff kind of got a lot of their stuff. A lot of people don't know that Detroit does have a lot more influence. It had a lot more influence on a lot of stuff today than people give it credit for. But remember, Tariq was actually from is actually partly from is from Detroit too. A lot of people don't know that. He's actually recently said that. And so um when it comes to the street culture, remember I talked about the, light skin, dark skin treaty in 1993 that had a lot to do with the street culture. And, people are, I'm not, people are making, some people are making good cases, but my thing is Anton is not the dude to make that case with. That's my thing. That Anton is not that guy to make that case with. It really isn't. Because Anton is for him. I don't even think Anton really cares about white people. I mean, he does, but Anton is for him first, which we all are. But I mean, like, really, really. So he went in there to create. He went in there to create a situation, to create a viral moment. And I'm sorry if you go in there with that kind of intentions. I mean, people can say Corey's people. I don't watch Corey Holcomb show. I haven't watched Corey Holcomb a full Corey Holcomb show like, since what he said about Kevin. Now he apologized, but I mean, honestly, it's a lot of commitment to take a Tuesday to watch his show or to go back into his show when it's just really Darlene loose talking BS. And quite frankly, there's people like Fawcett Media, they'll cover. If Corey says something significant, they'll cover it and I'll watch their stuff. So I've been, and I used to watch his stuff back in the Ustream days. And that's not because I'm mad at Corey. It's just sometimes you move on from content. People have moved on from my content. You move on unless somebody's doing something different or they're presenting the information in a different way. I mean, truth be told, Corey really needs to do a lot of short form videos. He needs to hire an editor and get somebody to cut that shit up. Because people will probably absorb his content more in video upload format than live stream. That's why I need to do more video uploads because a lot of people don't want to hear, me live stream. But then again, I don't really want to cut my videos up with you all, and then it's like you all got to double listen to it. I typically don't want to do that, but I don't know. Let me know if that's something you're interested in. But that shows he didn't come in. He came in there with some intentions, and I Show Speed is the dude that's up. Like, let me see, let me see. I mean, I'm not gonna go through I Show Speed, so I'll do that in another day. Yeah, I mean, unfortunately, I mean that's what Anton did, but that's not. He ain't the only one that does that. But when you have a long stream like that, a lot of people do it. They take the long stream and they cut it up. They cut it up. And maybe that'll be a tactic I do when I get bigger, but I know typically it's the same people that watch my stuff, so I'm not trying to double that up. And once you know when it's an upload, it's typically not something I set on a live stream unless it's really significant. But I might need to start doing that. If for nothing else, just to get more links out there. Yeah, and then I support, Fawcett Media. It's a couple other people, mainly Fawcett Media is a guy I go to for the Corey clips. And Fawcett Media has been on Corey Holcomb show. But ultimately, let's go through some of these messages, and because some of them are good. I'm not even gonna beat them up, but some of them are good. She Hate Me, shout out to him. He's a supporter of the channel. Said, he said, I said this to you a few years back when he was using Christ as a shield up front, but using unsavory language against us for no reason. The robe that sees the Apollo. One thing too that I know that he's absolutely right, and shout out to him. He's definitely a financial supporter of the channel. One thing that a lot of people, Anton don't really talk about nothing but black people. You don't really see Anton really talking about, Jewish people, which I get that. He ain't trying to blow his stuff up. But you don't really see him talk about Indians. You don't really see him talk about nothing but black people. He'll talk about Somalis, but technically they black. They just act like they not. He's very conditional in that. And again, I'm gonna keep it real. A lot of y'all to be on his channel, like y'all be in there just y'all are basically yes people on his panel. Y'all just there for show. Y'all not really challenging nothing. Not really. Unless he say something specifically on black women, which my thing is, if Anton wants to have a culture problem, that is a culture problem. Nobody has more direct control over the black community culture than black women. Unfortunately, and even if you want to critique black men, why aren't you bringing up real reasons, real examples of how black men aren't dealing with the culture? Why aren't you doing that? Why aren't you doing that? I mean, shoot, he's not. So honestly, it's not a lot of real info. Anton has perfected the art of not saying shit, but people still listening anyway. When you really he like a lot of content he makes is slop. I hate that. I'm not even trying to like talk crap. I'm just keeping it real. And I'm not saying his stuff is more slop than anybody else's, but like he's really perfected the art of getting people being really invested in what's essentially bullshit. The way he does his reaction channel and all of that stuff, it's kind of crazy. It really is. Like not crazy, but it's really like he don't be saying nothing. Like if you ever listen to Anton stuff, Anton is very repeatable. Like he almost he ain't saying nothing. This fake motivational speech, millionaire morning. Anton ain't saying nothing. Like it is a whole bunch of bread. I went to Chick-fil-A today, and they forgot to somehow to put the chicken in there. So it was a biscuit and egg because I added an egg. Now they fixed it; they're good like that. But I wanted that chicken. That's what Anton does. Anton serves up McDonald's without meat, and I'm not saying that stuff is great to begin with, but it's got everything but the meat in it. That's essentially Anton's content. Some people have certain things because they're speaking from a street side or business side. They give you insight to what they know. Like I can tell, I know people that they serve like they serve a lot of. I'm not gonna call pause, but value. Even I'll give you a perfect example. There's an interview going around with Cameron and one of his ex-girlfriends. And this guy Cameron ex-girlfriend's got another like two other dudes in there. They're talking about like she's talking her bird babble about Cameron and support, blah, blah, blah. But they're talking about like buying a space, what you look for in the space, and there's game you can actually get insight from just in the background of the conversation based on how they talking about it. But you don't get that from Anton stuff. Now maybe in his Patreon people can speak differently, but you don't get that from that. So absolutely shout out to She Hate Me. Um I'm not always gonna put out the names, but yeah, playing with fire, have to tread lightly if you want dirty laundry in the street. Yeah, I understand that. Joe Button got his eye rocked by the Wu-Tang affiliate. This is referencing what I said about Joe Biden not Joe Biden, Joe Button talking about Corey's. First of all, Corey is not soft. Corey is 57. Corey is not soft. Corey is 57 years old. Corey has made his money. Corey can't be out. Corey has cases. So let's stop acting like people been Zoe has punched people on the show he has paid for. Ain't nobody been rocked. And Joe, the people in Joe Button and them would definitely be considered more soft. Darlene is connected to Ice-T. Like let's cut the beat. Trust me, the people that's been on Corey's show as far as like the recurring like medium term guests, I would bet against a fight with the people on Joe Budden's podcast anytime. And I'm not trying to say they saw, but I'm just saying, like, let's keep it real. Let's not play that game. I mean, you got Mark Lamont. You got look, and I'm not even trying to say because Mark Lamont Hill look like he work out. So I'm not about to just shit on him. But come on, you got Mark Lamont Hill. Come on, man, you got dude. Just stop playing, man. Like, and that's the thing. Joe Budden be saying stuff to try to be to get a moment. That's why a lot of people don't like Joe Budden. Busy, busy. Rand said, no exaggeration. Theo Wolf alone has brought millions of dollars into the space. People who have okay, that's not related. But yeah, I defended Theo. I don't like Theo don't even be in the space hard enough like that for people like in the BS for people to be asking. Like that was a question I was asked on that interview talking about do I think it's weird that Theo said you had to be red pill in order for him to teach you. I said he can train people under any parameters he wants to. You can accept that or don't. And Theo people do that all the time. Life coaches make parameters like that all the time. And you have to do that because when people accept money from you, if they accept money from you, they can misrepresent the relationship between you when it comes to the money transaction as a life coach. So they have to vet for that. Otherwise, you're going to get people throwing dirt on your name. And some people are bad coaches, but you'll get people throwing dirt on your name. This is why a lot of times good coaches have to interview you. And so it's like a good fit. People don't think about that because they haven't purchased life coaches. This guy by the name of Jeffrey Combs, a really good dude. These every coach ain't thirsty. Every coach ain't thirsty for Anton. I don't know if Anton's a trust fund baby. He did get a life insurance policy. I wouldn't qualify that as a trust fund baby. But that is definitely it is worth something bringing it up, and it's a step below that. I mean, shout out to why you should have life insurance. That's something that really need. I mean, shoot, that's something honestly Anton should have been talking about. I don't hear him talk about that. And I don't sound like I'm being heavy on Anton, but I'm trying to look for it. He said Anton got. Oh yeah, here's another dude talk about Anton got y'all emotional, and y'all are okay with Corey bringing children into this beef with a grown man. Here's the thing, man. As far as that, first things first. Congratulations for being part of the volunteer Anton Daniels fire department PR team. Good job. I hope there's good benefits because I know you ain't getting paid for it. Second of all, you know, I don't respect this comment because you could tell he just looked at the title and got in there and made a comment. He ain't actually hear what I said. And I like to title my stuff particularly for that, just to see if people gonna actually watch the video. And Anton, first of all, let's keep it real. Nobody's emotional. Like this idea of everybody's emotional, but Anton. Anton got hell. Anton has been emotional. Please stop acting like Anton is the mastermind. Like Anton is a perfect example how a lame ass nigga, motherfuckers to get behind a lame ass nigga. There's another dude in this space that kind of acts a lot like Anton himself. He's not acculturated in American stuff, and y'all might be able to guess what I'm talking about. But I don't know. Y'all like that. If you do certain social, this is how I know when people talk about gang, when people talk about certain stuff, I'd be like, that's bullshit. It's all bullshit. But most people don't agree with what Corey did. Most content creators definitely don't agree. And I said in the response, what you're talking about is people in the comments. What you're talking about is the audience viewing it. And at the end of the day, worse stuff has been done on the internet. Just ask Hassan, what's his name? Hassan Whiteside. Just ask him about that. Worse stuff has been done on the internet. And at the end of the day, Corey said he was, I don't even, Corey said he was a dirtbag for doing it. Corey has said fuck his own daughter. Corey don't care. And so if you studied him, then you should have knew that. You should have knew that. Shit, I don't put that past 50 Cent. And so when people can say, "Oh, I'm upset," okay, what you gonna really do about it? Like seriously, if you that upset, and it's that situational. Let's keep it real. People like just like you with Tariq and that crispy shit. People used to get all angry about that, knowing some of the goofy shit Tommy has said. You just don't want to see your guy take an L, and you didn't think Corey would go that low. And at the end of the day, I don't agree with that. I said it before. I would have waited and got him when it was when he was vulnerable. If I cared about it that much. But at the end of the day, people gonna still go to Corey shows. At the end of the day, and also, I'm sorry, we're not gonna act like it's that bad. We're not gonna act like it's like there was women that put out that Crystal Carrison's daughter was doing OnlyFans. Now I don't know if she still is. I don't know if she ever was, but they were putting that out. Now, Crystal Carrison's daughter ain't got nothing to do with Crystal, the shit that Crystal Carrison says, right? But they didn't care about that. They wanted to put her business out to hurt her. The reality is that people can feel how they want to feel, and they can make it known y'all not about to hurt Corey's money. Y'all not about to cancel Corey. And this is quite frankly not really the worst thing Corey has ever done. Don't ask me what is, but this ain't. Corey, So at the end of the day, that's between him. And so what people try to do is they try to use this as a litmus test to try to, make Anton a victim. Fuck that shit. All he did was put a picture up there and say that this is the type of shit you produce and this shit is ugly. That's what he did. There are worse things in this world than one can do. There is. So people trying to make it, oh my God, I can't believe he brought that little girl. And get the fuck out of here, man. Like, worse things in life has happened. And although I don't agree with it, I had my dead mother being paraded in this motherfucker and in this motherfucker because I decided to show pictures in my Discord. This is my mom that, I loved dearly. And there was motherfuckers that low key didn't have a problem with that. So people can kiss my ass. At the end of the day, if Corey gets backlash from that, that is what it is. I remember I said the same thing with Glennon when he put out that video. I said it. I mean, I don't agree. I don't, that's not a smart move. So, I mean, it sounds like I'm trying to have it, but I'm not. But people have situational morality, and it's usually based on who they like and who they don't like. This, it is what it is, and I understand why he did that. I still don't agree with it, but I understand what he's going for. He basically wanted to say, I'm gonna do something that's gonna make you wish I hit you, and I don't care. So let's see what you gonna calculate when I come from chaos. That's what he's doing. Whether it's right or wrong, y'all can judge that. But this thing where people want to use that, it's time. Fuck that. I don't allow people to try to, especially if it's not me doing something, I don't allow people to try to use morality to try to bend what I say. At the end of the day, if Anton go and get lawyers, Anton gonna look like a whole bitch. So especially after doing all the stuff that he did, because real talk, if you really street like that, you wouldn't handle that in the court. That's what white people do. And quite frankly, to be fair, white people have done worse online. White people will dig in your stuff, dox you, pull it all out. White people don't care. So if you've been seeing the white side of the internet, they will do a lot worse than just put up. They will do a lot worse than that. They will put up false sexual assault charges. They will organize that crap. Yeah, they said Tommy's daughter got it all the time. Absolutely. So I remember what this stuff used to be. So, and remember, Tommy had Corey on his ass, Tariq on his ass, Jason Black on his ass, all at the same time. So people be wanting to, like, again, you gotta remember, a lot of people that follow Anton don't remember how it used to be. Those are post Kevin Samuels people. And people can make a decision. I didn't agree with what Corey said about Kevin Samuels. And I'm gonna tell you what really pissed me off about what Corey said when he was like, this nigga gay and all of that. It was really Darlene. It was really Darlene. It wasn't so much what Corey said, because Corey called everybody gay. So a lot of that, and I understood it. He was saying that he was trying to say and Kevin was Metro, and he wasn't the first person to say that. But I'm about how Darlene responded with Darlene. Yeah, man, you could tell Darlene didn't really like what Kevin said, even though Kevin was saying was facts. And then Corey came around when he realized how much heat this dude was getting and how much he had to overcome that from the women. And then he probably watched one show and realized the same thing with Royce 5'9". He's out of Detroit too. Shout out to him. Like, these women be lying about what happens. Because I even remember it was another comedian that they used to do a Kevin impersonation skit. And it's like y'all are lying about how these women show up disrespectful, and unlike the rest of y'all, they need to get money from these chicks. It doesn't interrupt Kevin's money, and so Kevin basically is back. Nicki Minaj was one of the few ones to actually say it. These women act funny, and Kevin was acting funny back. That's all that was. But see, that's so novel. This is why I say men are scared of black women. Because because at the end of the day, if a man disrespects you like that, you gonna at least verbally check that. I ain't saying you got to get physical, but you're gonna verbally check that. You're not going to just sit there and and truth be told, if a white woman gets too crazy on y'all not gonna necessarily check that. Y'all not necessarily gonna let that slide. Y'all will tread lightly, but with black women, y'all just getting a little boy mode. And we got to be real about that. Y'all getting a little boy mode. And then y'all really don't want to anger mommy or anger your audience where your money is built on. I mean, yeah, because I mean it get, with Corey doing that opens up a lot of people. Yeah, it was Avian Crockett. And at first I thought he was being cool, but then I realized what he was doing. And it's kind of like, this is a conversation that needs to be had. And rather than y'all trying to make money off people being angst, it's a conversation that needs to be had. Now it's a video that's gonna low key prove why I'm saying that. Well, because I got a video with Tyrese's ex-wife. Now I'm about to play a video real quick of somebody that you probably would never think would talk that kind of ish. That you almost would rather be hit than him actually talk to you, because he's gonna tell you about yourself. He is going to tell you about yourself. What are we doing? He is going to tell you about yourself.
Obsessed with.
So let's play this real quick. Tell me if you recognize who this is. Yeah, Samantha Lee.
Me.
Check this. It's just a small clip.
Who are you obsessed with?
Me.
I would dump your ass in a heartbeat.
Come on.
I would take care of my children. I would run
Now,
from
don't cry.
any direction you're in because I know what's there is a black widow pretending to be a princess.
Yeah.
I would not put up with your for 2 seconds, and I would never hurt you physically, but I would let you know what it feels like when you try to with a masculine.
Come on.
Because all of your suffering is because you obsess about your needs, and you've never stopped to feel what's really going on in him and what role have I played to help create that.
What role have...
Now, let me tell you something. Hold on.
Response
Okay, so, because I never got past, like, his initial response.
going on in him and what role have I played.
about yourself? And you're probably thinking, I want ice cream. Do you have life on you? Don't know even... Does that matter to you?
Love somebody, your focus is not on yourself. Love somebody, your focus is not responsible what he feels. I get that 100%. But when you...
His needs. Does that matter to you? Come on.
Now, he's responsible what he feels. I get that 100%. But when you love somebody, your focus is
And remember, Tony Robbins is like 6'7". He's a big motherfucker.
not on yourself.
Yeah.
When a relationship's about you, it's not a relationship.
Yeah.
It's a relationship with yourself.
Come on.
That's
What did I say? Women playing games with themselves. What did I say?
what you've been having. You've become an abuser
Yes.
because you've been so self-focused. It's not your intent. You're not a bad human being. There's not an ounce of you that's a bad human being. You're just spoiled.
Shit.
A lot of you have been spoiled. A lot of you have been spoiled by me. Yourself.
All right, so we're done with that. My point is, Kevin was generally never that brutal. And I'm not going to turn up like how, but like, if you know Tony, you're like, come on, man. And that's what I'm saying. Now, could you, Tony Robbins, if it was a black version of that, Les Brown was on that. And Goggins is like that, but he's like that with men. He's like that with everybody, but it's generally assumed a lot of that's aimed at men. Um, and look at how they tried to go for David Goggins. They tried to come for David Goggins with his daughter thing, his daughter situation, and he stood right in front of that and flipped that shit. They tried to lie and put dirt on his name, and he basically had all the receipts, and it made him look stupid. My thing is, Kevin was they celebrated Kevin's death for that. We know, we got an idea how much money Tony Robbins is like. Les Brown is up there too, but I was like that. Tony Robbins is up there. Is like the number one guy for right now when it comes to that motivational stuff. Like, and he's been for a minute. And they would, oh, could you imagine? Oh, you hate women, blah 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 blah. And so that's just to show you, because they'll always act like no other group does that. And he was 100% right. He was because you can't help somebody. You can. I've said this before. I'm gonna say this again. You cannot unspoil a child in the environment, same environment they were spoiled in, and that's their mental environment, social environment. You can't. And you got to get a reality check. You got to. So anyway, um. Well, I mean, they listen to Tony Gaskins because what they want is they like how he looks, number one, and number two, they want somebody to they need somebody credible. They need somebody that is credible with what they're saying, not that they're just straight telling them what they want to hear, because that's how you believe it more. And Tony Gaskins is that, man, come to Christ for Christian. These women don't want to be Christ-like; they want to be witches. And so these women, like, first of all, you're actually putting Christian men in danger, putting them in front of these women, because these women don't want to be Christ-like. And actually, I'm glad you brought that up, because that's a perfect example of like the Samantha Lee situation. And at the end of the day, it's a hustle. I call it emotional dope dealing. I would tell that to Tony Gaskins, you're an emotional dope dealer. You're an emotional dope dealer. That's what you do. You deal emotional dope that you call your truth. And yeah. Um but you'll never hear Tony Gaskins say that. You might hear Mr. Let Go try that, but when Mr. Let Go tries it, they just bop him on the head with a piece of newspaper verbally and try to put him in his place. But you'll never hear Tony Gaskins, because these dudes, and that's how you know their real intention isn't to help people. Maybe he does this behind the scenes, but but obviously their job. I mean, and again, the women there don't want to be helped. They want more. They want emotional morphine. That's what they want. They want to be told it's going to be okay. And then when they wake up and in their 50, they ain't got, they can get mad all they want to. He said Anton should. Anton should. If Anton is that much of a street dude, like he try to act like he is, I'm not going to no papers. If I'm not suing you, I'm not doing that. That's not happening. Because number one, that draws out the situation longer. It doesn't really solve the problem, and quite frankly, Anton ain't gonna get no real money for that. Not for what Corey did. Corey's been, when you've been sued as many times as Corey, you kind of know it's kind of like if you get locked up, you kind of know what you can get away with and what you can't. Knockout says Tony Gaskins said he doesn't believe men should get a prenup, but only women should get a prenup and protect what they got. Yeah, I mean, that tells you everything you need to know, because you either believe in a prenup or you don't believe in a prenup. You either believe in it or you don't believe in it. It doesn't work that way. It doesn't work that way. You either believe in a prenup or you don't believe in a prenup. First of all, men generate more assets than women. And when men get a prenup, it's not just about the money, it's about the time it took to make the money. It's about, it's you insuring your work. It's you insuring, it's really like insurance. It's you insuring your potential. It's you insuring what you built. And then really, quite frankly, if somebody asks me why do I need to get a prenup, I'm gonna say it straight up, it's for my kids. What I put in for this life is for the children that I have. It is not for my wife will get my wife is gonna get what she gets when she's with me, and she'll probably get if I have one or whatever, they're gonna get something being a mother of my children, sure, as long as they're cooperative. Women want the same treatment children get. It doesn't work that way. Not in practicality. It doesn't work that way. Because at the end of the day, we are supposed to be doing this for them. And you, as somebody in the system, gets to you're a big part of the system, but you're not above the system. At the end of the day, you're here as a vessel for those kids to be born and as a transfer for the culture to be transferred through them. That's why it's important, because if you get somebody from a completely different culture, you be a fool to act like that's not going to spill over. And that's why, as black men, we have to be arbiters of black culture ourselves, because we can't depend on the women to do it, not in the way we want. This is really what religion's supposed to be for. It's a system that kind of puts women in that and makes sure they do that. This is why it's so detrimental when women try to act like they're Christ-like, but we know they really live in like witches. Like, real. I'm not even trying to be funny. So at the end of the day, um, when you sit here and somebody like Tony Gaskins, of course because he's gonna say, he's like Ernest Leisure. They're gonna say what they say to put money in their pockets. And if people fall for that, then they fall for that. Another thing too is you're actually hurting women. First of all, men don't have a problem with a prenup if they make more money. They don't have a problem with a prenup, because if they get kids out of you, they're gonna win that situation anyway. So men don't have that problem. Secondly, it's rare that women really want to get with men to the point where they got to get a prenup to protect their own stuff. So it's like, but as far as men, I'm like, I'm not playing with you. Like, I don't have to marry you. Like, when you understand the tax benefits and stuff like that, I don't have to marry you. I can just have kids with you, and we just do we do a cohabitating thing, and I'm gonna make sure it's in a state that don't do common law. I don't think North Carolina does. We're not playing that game. Like, if you say that, I'm not married. And quite frankly, a lot of these chicks would rather have a kid than be married anyway. A lot of these chicks, black women, marriage is too big of a commitment anyway. So I'm not even having this conversation. So if you get mad, I'm like, yo, this is not a conversation. It's not. It's not a conversation. It's not. All I'm hearing is you're not the one. Everything you say is I'm not the one. And there is no, you say no, then you say yes, so you can later do. I'm gonna keep it real. I don't even believe in prenups, honestly. I don't believe prenups are strong enough. I believe too many judges can throw it out, and I'm telling you right now, I will lose my mind if I were to get a prenup and the judge would throw it out. So I'm not even gonna give you. I'm not even gonna do that. I'm dead at. I'd rather go overseas and get a kid, like, straight up, and be like, look, I'm go make sure you good, family's good, to a point where they need to keep you in line and make sure I get what I want. I'd rather do that than fucking play games here. And North Carolina typically has very good laws when it comes to marriage. It's not about arguing. Stuff like this, I'm not arguing with you. Stuff like this, I need you to show me before I even bring it up. So we're in alignment. And so I could care less what Tony Gaskins says. Because if you a dude and you listen to him, you're a fool. And I'm telling you right now, if a chick listen to Tony Gaskins, I'm probably not taking them seriously, because they've had all that BS in their head. And people could say, well, women can say that about Kevin. They absolutely can say about Kevin. Difference is men are paying more for women than women are paying for men. And Kevin, I don't even think said prenup like that, to be honest with you. But again, that's how he's really there to just he's there to entertain women because there's a lot of money in the Christian church. So if you're in that like orbit, like, there's a lot of females with no man. And so he's essentially like a low-key pastor / life coach. He can sell his books, sell his courses, all that. Women will buy that shit up, deal with the Black Women's Empowerment Tour that always comes around. He knows what he's doing. And at the end of the day, the women want to believe that. And that's why when it all doesn't work and they get 52, or like Claudia Jordan, it's like, I don't know what to tell you. You chose to buy into all this bullshit. So, any dude that listens to that, like Clarence, they listen to that. a lot of that is denial. It's denial. Whenever somebody says, if we just get one with God, everything will be great. That's denial of the real practical world. Because first of all, the Old Testament was way more ruthless than the New Testament. And a lot of people's idea of God or of church is basically on the commodified profiteering version of it. I've actually gone to Bible school. I've been to Bible school a whole week where I had nothing but the Bible in the middle of the woods and stuff in not the particularly greatest time of my life. So a lot of these people, they be trying to act, again, they just use that. Like their idea is Christ in the red pill. Christ. That's all they want to say, as if we're just making stuff up. Remember, the red pill's reaction was reactive, which means we're reacting to real problems. So rather than actually solving those problems, because see, notice how those same dudes, like I don't even try to bring up clear, but notice them same dudes ain't got nothing to say about the chicks. Notice them same dudes ain't got nothing to say about how feminism is not Christ. Feminism is not Christ-like at all. Feminism is very anti-Christ, pro-abortion, which is against Christ, is pro-horish, which is against Christ. It promotes all of that. And yet these people ain't got nothing to say, but they got something to say about the red pill. Interesting. When ironically, the red pill leans more right than it does left. Interesting. Well, the problem with domestic partnerships is they can try to reframe that as common law marriages. And it's unfortunate because again, if the laws were fair, dudes wouldn't have to worry about this, but they're not. Yeah, of course. Because he's an emotional dope dealer. He knows what he's saying is bullshit. But it's entertainment. And when you understand that, you don't get as mad. But at the end of the day, you be like, dude, you're not helping black people get together. You're not. Because see, somebody like him don't call out city girl music. Somebody like him don't call out all these other influences. They don't. They just call out, they want to be against the men because that's how they codify the women together. It's like wolves herding sheep. And he'll have to, you want to talk about God, he'll have to account for that when he meets them. All these women you led astray. Yeah, they do. So that's why it's like, and y'all all, and the women, ain't no men in the church. I wonder why. But anyway. But yeah, as far as like the daughter thing, I mean, everybody's sitting here, oh my God, I can't believe he did that. Oh my God. I'm like, he did it. All right, what are you gonna do? Seriously though. And I'm not even trying to be like mean about it. Aren't you gonna take a moral stand? Aren't you going to stand up for what's right? And I do, and I agree with Messi. That chick, that girl didn't ask to be on the internet and all of that. I get that, but like, and then I'm not. People say, "Oh, well, you justify." At the end of the day, man, I'm not about to sit here. I don't virtue signal unless it's a real person. I've seen that shit before. And you'll see it again. He did. Man, I've seen worse things. But anyway, I want to play this video. I want to play this video, and we're going to do a reaction to this. So we are going to do a reaction to this video. And this is Samantha Lee. This is her talking about the aftermath of her marriage. Shout out to Reba TV. This is, obviously where it's from. I found this on TikTok today. Yeah. Yeah, I like this. We are going to size regular. Why? No, we're going to take the comments off, and let's go through this.
I work with women. I would never tell a woman to walk through that in the same frame of mind I was in when I did it.
And when you say that, but what frame of mind was that? What do you mean by that in particular?
I was very, very hurt.
When she says frame of mind, she's referring to her divorcing. And keep in mind, she said when she works with women.
I was very angry. And I remember like when I made like the decision, I was like hysterically crying on the phone with my attorney. That was not the person I should have been on the phone with when, like, that's a whole nother conversation. But anyway, I was hysterically crying. And I was not in any position to make that decision. I was extremely emotionally intoxicated.
Okay. So when she says the decision, she's talking about, like I said, divorcing Tyrese. She said she was emotional. She said she was hurt. What's never said, now this stuff was litigated in the court of public opinion. Tyrese did not cheat on her. Tyrese did not beat on her. Tyrese did not emotionally abuse her. What were you mad about? What were you emotional about? And I wish they would ask that. And I understand. I understand. They are on here. Content's got a content. You interview the current person as an advertisement for the next person. If they're not gonna red pill it, they're not gonna put her on a trial. You know, these, especially these purple pill places, they're just not gonna do that because women just won't show up. With that being said, within that framework, I understand. Within that framework, you could have asked her, what were you emotional about? Like, what were you actually mad about? Like, I get, like, why did you, because nobody, that's not clear why she got a divorce. And she's been accused of just being a gold digger. And she was in, she got the baby and then bounced. Got the baby, waited enough time to where she could get something she thought was significant and bounce. Remember, Tyrese is out of California. So obviously you got hood chicks, this is not her, but you got thoughts that literally go to California, try to import their case to California to get favorable deals. Shout out to Mrs. Z. Absolutely. Appreciate the $5. So keep that in mind. She keeps saying she's emotional. She's in a term emotionally intoxicated, which is crazy. I call that emotionally unstable, but let's continue.
We can be intoxicated with our emotion. I'm very much emotionally led. I feel very strongly. I'm just that kind of person, very passionate.
So does most women.
But I would never tell somebody to make that decision when they're that emotional.
That's her blame. See, number one, you're blaming other people for stuff you did. And she bringing up the lawyer. Really, she talking about her mom, I personally think. Because the lawyer, that's his job. His job is not to get you back together. His money's not tied to that. So you cannot put that on a divorce lawyer. I think he's talking about her mom, but I think she can't throw her mom under the bus like that.
But of course,
let me know in the comments if you think she's talking about her mom or who else you think she's talking about.
I wasn't talking to someone that genuinely would be for marriage.
Notice how she's being very choosy with her words. Like, she's thinking before every word she puts out. This has been a minute. This has been like 2 years since they got divorced, maybe even 3. They've litigated the cases, all of that. Also, she didn't get as much money as she thought she wanted. So this is her regretting that, supposedly regret after that. Keep that in mind.
You know, or for reconciliation. And that's not no slight to my, you know.
No, it's
the current friends.
Yeah, it has nothing. There's no slight to that. Not the friends, but I was on the phone with my attorney.
Yeah.
So it was something that was being said to me that hurt me at that time. And that, so keep in mind, you had an attorney. So it's not like this, whatever happened triggered the divorce. You were already on that path. See, she's trying to have it both ways. Time when I was on the phone and I made that decision, I was livid. The truth about the matter is that if I had,
keep in mind, Tyrese was never accused of cheating. Tyrese was never accused of abuse. What were you mad about? Please, anybody, put in the comments what she's talking about if you think I'm not getting to the point of it.
had different people in my ear at that time, I would not have made that decision. No.
Wow.
So attorney is one person. So that's why I said the mother.
I wouldn't. And that's the truth. I try my very best at this point in my life to be what I didn't have in that moment. Because I think that I was, women were like, I'm an extremely emotional person. People that know me know that about me. I'm the kind of person that like.
That's something Tyrese, I keep saying Tyrese should have knew before he married you. Basically, you're an emotionally unstable woman that you don't have anybody around you that's really going to ground you, because her mom enables her behavior. Honestly. Like, for instance, if you look at Vanessa Bryant and the relationship she has with her mom, she will check her mom. Samantha is a product of her mom. And basically, she allows her mom to basically live out relationships through her. And this is what I would do BS.
Okay, I feel so strong, and I can ruminate. I can get so lost in my thoughts. I know a lot of women are like that. Like
here's my problem. Okay, and I'm gonna let this play out, even though it's pretty much done.
A lot, not all of us, right? But some of us are. Just like a lot of men can be like that. But I know women specifically.
So what you're saying is nonsensical when you try to neutralize it like that, because men have real consequences to being emotional like that. Men are not allowed to be emotional like that. Gay men don't even get that much room to be emotional like that. Not like that, what she's talking about.
There will be moments where they'll be like, I'm ready to be done. I'm ready to be done. I'm ready to be done. I can't stand this. He don't do this. He don't do that. Blah, blah. When you get lawyers involved, and I work with women.
Okay, so first things first. Anybody that will talk to this woman will pay her money to talk to them. You're an idiot. You're only paying her because she's connected to Tyrese and you're full. You would do better. Like, you might as well. I'll say she's a step above Cheyenne Bryant, because she blew it up so she can talk about hindsight. So I'll give her that much. But the reality is most of her social media has men on it because of how she looks. So there's a couple things we're going to break down. Number one, you didn't. The first question I said they should have asked is, what made you this mad? And when you say I'm not happy, that's not an answer, because it's Tyrese. Because people need to really instill in women, a man is not supposed to make you happy. When you're not happy like that, you start attacking the people nearest to you, and their easiest target is to just blame the man as to why I'm not happy. One of the married sister that left, Corey Hardrick, did that. They always do that. And then it becomes this thing where, what did the man do for you to not be happy? And even if they didn't do anything now, what did he not do to not make you happy? It's a convenient trope. And that's why y'all will be alone doing that, because y'all just going to be doing transaction. The other thing they should have asked was, how long were you this angry? Because again, you're talking about how emotional you are once a lawyer is involved. So you're telling me you're just constantly at like a level 7 or a level 8? That's called are you schizophrenic? Because that's what, like, if we're gonna be real about that, you're talking about something when you might need medication. And I'm not no doctor or somebody, but I'm just saying, when you're talking about you're making life decisions and attacking people that you can't tell me what they did, when it was in your best interest, to throw him under the bus to get that money, and you didn't, because you would have been lying, which is why you never put all that out there. That's why she used the child. I need the child, but the child's money isn't required. You don't need this lifestyle to have a child. You wanted a lifestyle, and she didn't know if she could make money on the internet. She's probably making a little bit of money on the internet, but it's still, you got to remember, Tyrese gives you access to parties, gives you access to events. That's not something money can buy, especially if you're not famous on your own. You lose that. And that matters to women. Women don't want to go to no regular life, even if they are secure. Even if they are secure and they got a decent lifestyle. They don't want to go to no regular life. They want to be connected to all of it. But because she wasn't famous before that and had no connections or ties, she would, no matter what he did for her, she wasn't going to be able. I mean, even I remember Tyrese said, "You're out here getting it in." So the thing is, when she tries to present this, I'm like, how long were you mad? Because as every decision that you made, you're going to blame on somebody being your here, or you're in this hyper angry state. You're in this hyper emotional state. We know that's not the case. You basically you got married to Tyrese. You had the kid. Like 2-3 years later, 36 months, you're not happy. But you can't say what Tyrese did. But you're not happy. It didn't take 5 years for you to get tired of it. And then you blew it up. Cool. Then, now here's where it becomes a problem. Here's where she becomes a bad person. And this is why I played the Tony Robbins thing first. And I got that video after I saw this. This is where Samantha Lee becomes a bad person. Remember, Samantha Lee is a Christian. Like a for real Christian. Remember that. Remember that. So these are not just vows she broke with Therese. These are vows she broke under God in her way for no reason, because she's not happy. God doesn't care about when you make that commitment. That's not a real reason. Anyway, she then attacked. She wanted the maximum amount of money. She never provided an opportunity. Remember, Tyrese was crying. What do you want from me? That meme comes from that. Tyrese, you remember the videos he was doing? Tyrese was in pain. She didn't give a fuck. She did not give a fuck. And women, and I'm sorry, this chick was on some.
Fine. What's 17 more years? I can always start again. Make another kid.
Tyrese was like this. And she did not care. Tyrese was literally crying out to this chick on some 90s R&B, sweet lady, will you be mine? She did not care. And in my opinion, she wasn't just intoxicated with anger. She was intoxicated with that new dick. She was intoxicated with the lifestyle of, because she thought she was famous now, or she thought somebody else would pick her up, because Samantha Lee is an attractive woman. And what she didn't realize is dudes might have wanted to hit, but dudes ain't trying to make you their girl, especially how they seeing you treated Tyrese. Especially how they like, nah, I'm not about to give you no kid and then you think I'm supposed to. No. And so the reality is she did the Anakin Skywalker, I'm choking out Padme, this is what she doing. I'm killing the younglings. And then when she finally calmed down from burning everything to the fucking ground like this, and when she comes down from that, now she want to have this, now you're in Darth Vader uniform. You want to talk about, is Padme all right? That's what you did. This wasn't, this was a long drawn out thing. You had so many opportunities to basically try to correct it with him. And truth be told, Tyrese had to really mentally cut off from you for his own sanity. Honestly, Tyrese was in a when you put dudes in a situation like that, a lot of dudes will say fuck you and that kid for their own mental health. That's what you did. That's not something you just do in a hyper mental state. That's something that's a decision, that's a strategy. Don't blame that divorce lawyer on that. That's something you don't want to throw your mama under the bus. If you wanted to really tell the truth and shame the devil, you would. But you value that relationship, and that is what it is. I get that. But the reality is, I'm gonna keep it real. I think your daughter is gonna be influenced by your mother. So yeah, you better, because she's gonna repeat that, because that's who she is. Because it was rumored that her mother was the main one in her ear, because her mother don't care. She see it as a lick, just like Vanessa Bryant's mother saw Kobe as a lick. So this thing where you can miss me with I'm emotional, and that's what, no, yeah, you may have fired the trigger for divorce, but that's why you got to be separated for a certain amount of time. You went full bore to try to get as much money as you could from him, because you did not see Tyrese as a human being. And that's what makes you a bad person. Tyrese ain't really known for cheating and known for wilding out. Tyrese is really a lover boy in that way. And you can't say Tyrese is lame. You can't say Tyrese didn't get it from the mud. Tyrese is from Mott's. You can't say none of that. Yeah. And I think that's actually what Kobe Bryant had in common with Vanessa, because I think they both had like mother issues. It wasn't as bad with Vanessa and her mom. And don't get me started. I think that was something racial with that too. But the reality is, and this is not who she was. Oh, I'm just this girl and this girl. You were completely the opposite of what you sold to Tyrese. And honestly, I hate even to say this. This is why the red pill is important. But I'm gonna keep it real. Even red pill, I don't even know if you would have caught what she's like cyanide. I don't even know if you would have picked up on it, because she was just so like, fame literally rewrote her. She became a different person. And she's mad now that like ain't nobody really claiming her like that. Ain't nobody willing to be the next chick. Like people ain't fucking her like they used to. She got some money and she's good with the internet stuff and all of that. But yeah, she got to sit with that. And so a lot of this, I'm emotional. People around me is cope. At the end of the day, I'm sure Tyrese reached out. Tyrese had to protect himself. And so she can miss me with this. I made a decision. I did this. I did. No, you can miss me with that. And any dude that would get with you deserves what they get, because the reality is that's who you are. You can say that now, but you're when you get emotion, you're just going to justify. A woman like that would justify anything. Even now, she don't really take responsibility for what she did. She talking about if other people wouldn't have been in my ear. Oh, that's the other thing I was gonna say. What she's essentially talking about is if other people would have took away. She wants people to take away her agency. She wants people to literally be able to veto her and say, "You're not getting a divorce." And she'll kick and scream and holler and talk about abuse and all this stuff. But she essentially wants people to say, "You're not getting a divorce." You're not getting it. You don't have the ability to. Because when you're emotional like that, and women like that will get violent against the person that they see is doing that. And then they'll just start making stuff up. She literally is talking well, if I was a little girl and somebody just took away my ages, because remember, she ain't 25. Tyrese didn't get no young chick. Tyrese got somebody relative to her age, maybe a little bit younger. Her frontal lobe was developed. So she can't say that. And the truth is, any dude that listens to her and y'all hear this and hear her story and y'all feel bad for her because she's lying, you are a fucking idiot. I get that she's cute and I get that she's light skinned. She is what did what you call it say? What did he say? What did Tony Robbins say?
Obsessed with.
Me.
I would dump your ass in a heartbeat.
Come on.
I would take care of my children. I would run
Now,
from
don't cry.
any direction you're in because I know what's there as a black widow pretending to be a princess.
Yeah.
I would not put up with your for 2 seconds, and I would never hurt you physically, but I would let you know what it feels like when you try to with a man.
With the masculine. That
I
is
would
that is
never
from a
tell him.
dude that is sick. That is from a dude that is 6'7" and understand. And he was doing this to help her, but understand. And I got to keep it real for that chick to not just completely fall apart. She's in a crowd. When you know how big Tony Robbins, you don't got, you know how big Tony Robbins crowds is. You've seen them, and you know how much people be paying. Man, that's $1,000 ticket to get in there. And so I got to give her a little bit of credit, even being able to stand with that. She's getting dressed down in front of every. That's like going to an auditorium and being told you ain't shit. I'm doing this for your own good, but you ain't shit, and this is why you ain't shit. Exactly. And you can tell by his voice. He said the fucking masculine. He made it clear. He said, I never hurt you physically, but I let you know. Well, crap. Can you at least hit me? Because at least I can say I'm a victim. You letting me know. See, some people, if a black dude was talking like that, he'd be emotionally abusive. What do you mean by the masculine and you would let her know? What do you mean? See, that's that emotional abuse. That's what that would be. He's emotionally abusive. Oh my God. He abused me emotionally. And she even said, I'm obsessed with me. How much would you pay Tony Robbins to sit there for like 10 minutes? I'd pay Tony Robbins like, dude, I got $400 for you to sit here for 10 minutes and tell this chick that she ain't shit. Why? And make sure you record that so I can play. Alexa, play what Tony Robbins said about my wife. You are horrible. You only care about yourself. You don't know how to cook and clean. How do you burn water? Put some background music behind it. Put some good background music behind. Put some chicken head music behind it. But yeah, man, that's Samantha Lee. That is Samantha Lee. Maybe Tyrese should have. That's Samantha Lee right there. And now she mad because she may have some money because Tyrese had to pay up a little bit. But remember, it's California. If you still in California, that money ain't going far. That money, like, let me tell you something. I live like on the edge of Raleigh, North Carolina, Raleigh and Cary, North Carolina. And I can tell you right now, where I grew up, it ain't uncommon to have 1.5 to $2.5 million houses. And that's in Raleigh, North Carolina. That's where we at right now. That's not uncommon. So you already know what California is on. So all that money, people don't understand how expensive California is. I don't know how BGS. That's why when people be talking crap about BGS, I'm like, the fact that BGS and his family can still function in California, that tells me all I need to know. You can't be not worth nothing, be not worth a damn, and be in California living. I don't care if your house is paid for or stuff like that. And if it is, yeah, that's going to make it easier, but still, with gas and all of that, please. But yeah, but at the end of the day, she looks back and like, yeah, you ruined it. And here's another thing: there's absolutely no way for her to reconcile with him, and not because he can't take that risk. And the other thing too is, again, other people observed her behavior. Other people observed her behavior, and somebody like that, like, remember, if you having sex with somebody like that and get emotional like that, that's some. I think you took it. So yeah, you had that initial wave where dudes are like, yeah, I'm getting in all that, and then probably, I'm not saying she don't get dudes, but it's like you gotta look at how much paper are the dudes really coming and how much are they really willing to dole out. Seriously. And you know that ain't hitting like she say it is. But even Tyrese was like, yeah, don't even get me started on who you were dealing with. And I like, yeah, she burnt that bridge, blew that, she nuked that whole area to where there's no way Tyrese could get back with her, even if he low key wanted to. This wasn't a decision. This wasn't like a decision. This was like an entire process. This is like a series of decisions that she made and kept making. And in her mind, it never, even when she said, I was crying hysterically when I made the decision. Like, why are you that mad? And she never ever disclosed that. And in court, she would have had every reason to disclose that. Why are you that mad? Because unless you're schizophrenic and you just have that strong highs and lows, which by the way is something that needs to be disclosed with marriage, because that means that's called emotional instability. Not no, I just feel so hard. No, you're emotionally unstable. You are an adult. I don't care that you're a woman. You're supposed to be able to control that. Because I promise you, y'all don't get emotionally unstable with Caucasian men. With white men, y'all learn how to control that shit. Anyway, yeah. Well, I mean, California is the highest. Yeah, California is the highest of anywhere outside of maybe like certain places in New York, even San Fran. So I mean, and by the way, there is no house that's supposed, like, the materials it takes to build a house is not supposed to be that. It's not. California ain't that great. It just ain't. I'll visit. California ain't that great. It just ain't. Yeah. Yeah, and you got a lot of Californians starting to come out here too. Too. Like, that's the third group that's coming out here. I don't know why they're coming all the way over here, but yeah. Well, some of them, a lot of them got family in the South, so that's part of it too. They just don't want to go to Georgia and stuff like that. But yeah, man, I just wanted to play that. I'm probably gonna cut that out and make that its own video. But like, real talk, it's like, so like Kevin would have told her, like, you blew, like, Kevin had those conversations with people. Y'all know what y'all doing, and don't blame everybody around you, because at the end of the day, those are people around you. You didn't make a commitment to everybody around you. You made a commitment to your husband, and you don't see your husband as human. That's what that is. She didn't have cheating, and she didn't have nothing, and she did all of that. That's why I keep telling you, that crap don't matter, man. That crap don't matter. And like, the level that you like, and you got to remember, he pulled her out of nothing. She was a regular chick. Like, the best she could have did was, like, based on how she looked, was probably like, I don't even want to give her a doctor or a lawyer. I don't even want to say, I mean, she looks good, but she didn't have all these like accolades or pedigree. She don't come from this pedigree. Tyrese pulled her out of nothing. I'm not saying she's dirt poor, but pulled her out of nothing. I don't know if it was a prenup. No, because that's the prenup already signed. She tried to break that prenup and do all that. And it's like, you come in here, oh, I was in my feelings. I mean, so for how long? Like 2 years? I just wasn't happy. No, you didn't want to get out. Like, Tyrese is a famous person. He's still relevant. You just didn't want to be in no marriage. And you want to pretend you something that you not really. People like to talk about the Christian stuff when it's time to really deal with those values. I've been in California for 3 years. Unless you're making 200K, pass up on live here. Yeah. And I wouldn't live there if I'm making 2K, because there'd be other places. He can roast North Carolina, South Carolina. O'Shea don't know what he's talking about with North Carolina, South Carolina. So I mean, I like O'Shea. I fool with O'Shea, but that's just, he's ignorant. He don't know what he's talking about. This is something coming from somebody that lives in Uganda. And I mean, we get, it's a lot of ass in Uganda, but he don't know what he's talking about. I don't even get mad about that. It's just like when people go say stuff about Chicago and then they go to Chicago. Oh my God, Chicago's a clean city. Yeah, it's not the Chirac that people talk about. It's not. But so I don't even get mad at that. She do be thinking she better than Tyrese. Everyone is roasted South Carolina. I spent 2 weeks there. It was South Carolina, North Carolina is not the same thing. Well, to be fair, the triangle in North Carolina is not the same thing, but I'm not gonna act like the triangle is like an oasis. Like you got like the area in Greensboro, the Triad, which actually is very populated. You've got like Greensboro has $700,000 townhomes. It's not common, but they're there. You got Charlotte, so you got 3 spots in North Carolina. But the Triangle, Wake County is now a larger county than the county that Charlotte is in. And then you got the other 2 counties for the Triangle. So this is an actual unique zone. Then you actually got Wilmington, North Carolina, which actually is growing like gangbusters too. Just I'm not going over there because of hurricanes. They come through. North Carolina and South Carolina are very different. They have had very different developmentary paths. South Carolina is really Columbia and Charleston. I mean, you got Florence, but really it's Columbia and Charleston. That's really it. Florence is just because Florence is directly tied to I-95. But you really got Charleston, and that's it. But North Carolina, the rural areas in North Carolina, to me, is a little bit better than rural areas of South Carolina. But North Carolina is not South Carolina. Not in so when people say that, California is overdeveloped. I mean, I wish Raleigh would get a baseball team. Yeah, Greenville too, but Greenville, it's like Charleston, first city, Columbia, second city, Florence, third city. Greenville is like fourth. Just like how Charlotte City 1, Raleigh City 2, Wilmington is City 3, Greensboro is City 4. Now, people will alter Greensboro because technically Greensboro is more going to be gone through than Wilmington, but I'd say Wilmington 3 or 4. And then there's everything else. Then you want to come to the triangle. If you want a mix of rural and that, you want to come to triangle. Because what you would do is you would just not be in the triangle. You would be like in the outskirts of the triangle where you could drive in. Versus South Carolina, it falls off a cliff. It doesn't fall off a cliff here. So you would want to deal with here. Because the way the triangle works, so I tell people this, when I'm talking to them, the triangle works is the triangle is an obtuse triangle. So y'all know the obtuse triangle, the longer triangle. The obtuse triangle, and then the main point, the long point is just pointed at, let's say, 5 o'clock. So imagine the long point is pointing at 5 o'clock. Technically, so you've got at the top, you've got Duke University. Then on the left side, like this close to it is UNC. Then you go all the way down and you hit Raleigh, which is NC State. All these universities are small. Actually, big. Actually, Duke is the smallest of the 3. Duke's a private school. UNC, NC State, public school, blah, blah, blah. In the middle of that is the airport. And then the arc above that is what's called Research Triangle Park. That's where Epic Games is. That's where all the corporations are. That's actually what the triangle is. And 3 counties, Durham County, Duke, Orange County, Chapel Hill, Wake County, Raleigh. Wake County is probably like the 4th largest county by land, and it's the most populated county, and it's been the richest county. Wake County is way more richer than Charlotte. I won't say it's not close. It's really not close. Because truth be told, Wake County and Orange County is actually like Charlotte is like the 4th richest county as far as like income, as far as the money people actually have. Now, obviously, as an economic engine, Charlotte is probably the biggest economic engine as a city. But as far as like people that's got money, Charlotte is really like 5th. It's like honestly, Wake County, Orange County, yeah, check. So yeah, you got to go like outside of Charlotte to like Lake Norman, which is, I don't even think it's still in Mecklenburg County. I'm thinking about, because Mecklenburg County is a small county compared yeah. Anyway, Anyway, then you've got the outer triangle counties, which is like Johnson County. They circle the triangle. So Chatham County, Johnson County, and they're really more an extension of the triangle now. So Harnett County, Franklin County's rural, Harney County is southern rural, Johnson County intersects with I-95. Chatham County, Georgia, like so, and these counties have a lot going on. And Alamance County is another one. All these counties have a lot going on, even on their own, and people will live in some of these counties and commute into the triangle. So commute into like by the airport or where they got to go in Raleigh, and that's still like a 30-minute. That's like 30-minute commute. So it's not that bad. It's not that. So if you're California, you're in New York, and you're doing an hour commute to California, doing hour commute, that's not that bad. And then real estate is not as expensive in those outer counties, and it's still places in Wake County you still buy, but it really drops a little bit in those counties. And then if you're willing to live a county further than that, which is a couple that's not, it's not really further out, but it's kind of close, but it's not as notable. Then real estate really is really good, which a lot of people are buying. So yeah. But yeah, oh yeah, my bad. Fayetteville is up there too. Fayetteville, I would probably say, is third. Fayetteville is third. Wilmington is fourth. Greensboro is 5. I forgot about Fayetteville. It would be, but we don't count Fayetteville because Fayetteville is not really an economic engine. Fayetteville just has Fort Bragg. Now, they are dropping $10 billion of data centers in Cumberland County where Fayetteville is. So that's going to amp Fayetteville's profile. They have a regional airport, but Fayetteville is just Fort Bragg. They call Fayetteville Fayette-Nam. Fayetteville is also, you can get cheap real estate. Fayetteville is an hour from Raleigh. If you're willing to go to Fayetteville, you can definitely get cheap, good real estate. But you may not want to do that, especially if you got kids, you care about educating your kids. So Fayetteville is not counted. And also you got to remember, Fayetteville is an hour away. The triangle, you can get to any part of the triangle in like 20, 25 minutes, 30 minutes. You can get from one side of it to the other in about 40 minutes. So and that really, so Fayetteville is not counted because it's an hour away. So if you're going to count Fayetteville, you can count a lot of other stuff in that. Fayetteville would be like not in even the outer triangle. It would be like outside the outer triangle. Fayetteville is like a county away, almost 2 counties away. And they wouldn't count Fayetteville anyway, because Fayetteville is niggerish. They used to be. Apex and Nightdale isn't as expensive, but Apex is high as crap. And the Indians control Apex now. I did Amazon for Hilton Head. It's pretty. Yeah, I mean, it's pretty, but I'm talking about economic. I'm not like the looks, yeah, but I'm talking about economic engines. I'm talking about where the money is. You don't want to go nowhere where it's pretty, but ain't nothing going on and money's not flowing there. Like Cumberland County and the county south of Cumberland County is called Robinson County, and it borderline South Carolina. They already have 1,000 job data center there. That has 1,000 people maintaining it. So North Carolina is one of those areas that's throwing a lot of data centers at too. Winston-Salem, actually, I'm blanking on Winston-Salem. Yeah, Winston-Salem is up there too. Winston-Salem would probably be like the 3rd city out of 6 cities. So it would be Charlotte, Raleigh, Winston-Salem, Fayetteville, Greensboro. No, yeah, I hate to organize them. And I'm not even ranking them. Winston-Salem is expensive for no reason. But shout out to Wake Forest University, Winston-Salem State, where Stephen A. Smith went, Krispy Kreme's from Winston-Salem. Also, when you look at the food out here, Bojangles Cookout. I don't know if Waffle House is from North Carolina, but Bojangles Cookout, Rise. I mean, we got a lot of like restaurants that's like local to just here too, like chains and stuff. You'd be surprised. I mean, because Myrtle Beach ain't really an economic city. Myrtle Beach only matters when people are trying to just go over there to travel. So I'm talking about like overall. I'm not just talking about what's most known. Very few people really live in Myrtle Beach. Anyway, y'all, I've been on here for an hour and a half. We shooting the shit. Appreciate it. Make sure y'all support the Cash App. You know, as always, especially if y'all want me to do more of these kind of lives, like on live stream. Let me see. Also, if you haven't clicked on the link, click on the link. That was actually good for like an hour, so I'll see how many people actually came in there. Yeah, we got like an Arctic, apparently, ice storm coming through, so that's gonna be interesting. All right, let's see. Yeah, you gotta have money to live out there. Mostly church. Yeah, you got 2 more hours. No, I don't. Great show. Appreciate chaos. Yeah, it's mainly. Yeah, it's mainly vacation. Yeah, like people be having second property and stuff out there. Yeah, man. And I'm not, look, man, I ain't trying to be, man. South Carolina ain't really got nothing going on at the state level either. North Carolina is like the 9th largest state, and they'll settle at the 7th largest state in the United States. So keep that in mind. So there's a lot of stuff going on, but you know, hey. Yep, Tim Duncan, Chris Paul. So anyway, y'all, with that being said, this is Edward signing off.